In 2025, Vegas Strip casinos made a ruthless calculation. They would rather see empty tables than welcome the so-called Riff Raff, who once gave the city its soul. Caesars CEO Tom Reeg even admitted to forcing out low-end guests, embracing high fees, pricier tables, and a shrinking crowd. The result? Midweek floors deserted, dealers losing shifts, and the working-class spirit vanishing. But can this gamble on elitism really revive Vegas? Or did it just break the house? Here's how the Strip's shocking reinvention upended everything, and why the consequences are only beginning. Las Vegas once built its fortune on a simple promise. Everyone was welcome, and anyone could feel like a high roller. For decades, the Strip was a magnet for middle-class families, retirees, road trippers, and working folks who saved up for a weekend of cheap thrills. The city's secret wasn't luxury or exclusivity, it was volume. Casinos packed their floors by offering deals that bordered on the unbelievable. All-you-can-eat buffets for a few bucks. Blackjack tables with $5 minimums. Free parking, free drinks, free shows. The logic was clear. Bring in as many people as possible, keep them happy, and the house would win in the long run. This approach created a unique social ecosystem. A construction worker from Omaha could share a table with a Wall Street executive, each chasing the same luck, each treated like a VIP. The casino floor was a great leveler. Dealers, bartenders, and performers thrived in this environment, earning solid tips from the sheer number of guests. The more crowded the tables, the better the energy, and the better the take-home pay for workers who depended on a steady stream of visitors. Even in tough times, Las Vegas doubled down on accessibility. After the September 11th attacks, when tourism across the country plummeted, the Strip responded with deeper discounts and new promotions. When the Great Recession hit, casinos slashed room rates and revived the classic buffet to keep rooms filled. The COVID-19 pandemic brought another crisis, but as soon as restrictions lifted, Vegas rolled out deals. Free parking returned, and some properties dropped resort fees entirely to lure back hesitant guests. Each time, the city's resilience rested on its willingness to welcome the masses. The numbers told the story. In 2019, more than 42 million people visited Las Vegas. Hotel occupancy rates regularly topped 90% on weekends, and even on weekdays, the Strip buzzed with tourists hunting for bargains. For casino owners, the math was simple. Low prices brought high volume, and high volume meant steady profits, not just from gaming, but from restaurants, shows, and shops. Workers relied on this churn. A busy night could mean hundreds of dollars in tips, spread across hundreds of small bets and buffet tickets. This model didn't just fill casino coffers, it defined the city's identity. Vegas became known as the People's Playground, a place where anyone could take a shot at fortune, indulge in a little excess, and walk away with a story. The Strip's neon glow was powered by the dreams of millions, not just the wealth of a few. For decades, this formula proved remarkably resilient, weathering downturns and disasters by sticking to its roots. Make it cheap, make it fun, and make it for everyone. On a May morning in 2023, the old Vegas playbook was tossed aside, not with a whisper, but with a boardroom confession. Tom Reeg, CEO of Caesars Entertainment, faced Wall Street analysts and didn't hedge his words. "Kicking out the lowest end," he said. "No euphemisms, no apologies." The message was clear. The Strip would no longer chase the crowds who came for bargains, buffets, and $5 tables. "I see no reason that needs to or would stop." This wasn't just a soundbite. It was a public declaration of a new strategy, one that traded mass appeal for margin. A few weeks later, MGM Resorts' Bill Hornbuckle echoed the same logic. Instead of filling every room, the focus would be on the right rooms at the right price. Hornbuckle spelled out the new target, a 28% property-level margin, a number that would have seemed unthinkable in the old volume days. More villas, more suites, more velvet ropes. The casino floor itself was redesigned, with fewer low-limit tables and a growing forest of high-margin slot machines. Even the shape of the casino changed, pushing out the familiar hum of low-stakes action in favor of curated luxury. The incentives behind the scenes shifted too. Executive bonuses, once tied to occupancy and total guest count, were now pegged to RevPAR, revenue per available room, an EBITDA margin. For the first time, the number of heads and beds mattered less than the profit squeezed from each one. Analyst calls and SEC filings showed the same pattern. Debt covenants, executive compensation, and capital spending all lined up behind the premium guest. In the eyes of the board, high volume was no longer a virtue. It was a drag on returns. The language of the earnings calls left little doubt. Rigg described maximizing property-level profitability through premium guest engagement, managed comp expense, and aggressive in-room and F&B pricing. Table minimums doubled since 2022. Resort and parking fees became unapologetic revenue levers. Hornbuckle told investors, "The market has gone, particularly in our case, to premium." The data backed them up. Scenario modeling showed that a premium experience mix drove higher total revenue, a bigger share from non-gaming amenities, and fatter margins, even if fewer people walked through the doors. This was not a secret pivot. It was a deliberate boardroom-to-casino floor overhaul. The Strip's new business model was out in the open, and the message to everyday visitors was unmistakable. The era of cheap thrills was over. The new Vegas would be built for those who could pay, and those who couldn't would find the door quietly closed. A Las Vegas vacation now comes with a price tag that starts before you even step onto the casino floor. The days of grabbing a cheap room and parking for free are gone. In 2025, nearly every Strip hotel tax on a resort fee, averaging more than $55 a night. Even the so-called budget spots, like Excalibur or Luxor, charge upwards of $45, and that's before the $20 or $25 daily parking bill hits your wallet. Want to check in early? That's another $60. The fees add up fast, and they're impossible to avoid. For a couple staying just 2 nights, the extras can easily top $200 before a single hand of blackjack is dealt. The sticker shock doesn't end at the front desk. On the casino floor, the old $5 blackjack tables are relics. Most weekday minimums now start at $25, with some properties pushing even higher during peak hours. Low-limit tables are rare, often hidden in a back corner or gone altogether. The math is simple. For an average visitor, a $100 bill that once lasted hours now barely covers a few hands. The sense of fun, of stretching your luck and your money, is replaced by a nagging awareness that every minute costs more. Slot machines, once a playground for casual gamblers, are now programmed for maximum yield. Penny slots are still advertised, but the minimum bet per spin can quietly climb past $1 once all pay lines are activated. Everywhere, the message is clear. Vegas wants bigger spenders, and it's willing to build walls of fees and minimums to get them. This new cost structure isn't just about the bottom line. It's about who gets to play. The friction starts at booking, grows at check-in, and hits again at every turn on the floor. Longtime visitors, used to feeling like insiders, now find themselves nickel and dimed before they even see a show or order a drink. The promise of a cheap escape, the thrill of beating the house on a shoestring, has been replaced by a gauntlet of charges that filter out anyone not ready to pay premium. For many, the magic of Vegas was always in the feeling that anything was possible. Today, it can feel like the only thing that's certain is the bill. By the summer of 2025, the effects of the Strip's new business model were no longer an open question. They were written in the numbers. Hotel occupancy, once the city's pride, fell to 81.9% in June, down sharply from 88.3% the previous year. weekday rates fared even worse, with some reports showing occupancy dipping below 79%. Levels not seen since the aftermath of the pandemic. The city's visitor count told a similar story. Nearly 1.2 million fewer tourists walked the Strip in the first half of 2025 compared to the same stretch in 2024, an 11% drop that erased years of steady growth. Inside the casinos, the so-called buzz of Vegas became harder to find. The Nevada Gaming Control Board reported that gaming win on the Strip slipped 3.9% in May, falling to $713.7 million. Slot machines, long the backbone of casino revenue, saw a 5.4% decline. Baccarat, once the province of high rollers, crashed by 10%. Even with higher prices for every amenity, net income for Strip operators dropped by 40% in 2024, as the volume that once filled floors and fueled profits simply didn't return. Industry analysts tracked the new shape of the week: packed weekends, but a hollowed-out core from Monday through Thursday. The Strip, built for a never-ending party, now looked like a convention center between shows. Social media posts with hashtags like #VegasIsDead showed rows of empty slots and silent tables. Regulars and workers alike described the city as a ghost town in designer clothes. The data went beyond the casino floor. Ancillary revenue, money from food, beverage, and entertainment, flattened as fewer guests meant fewer meals, drinks, and show tickets sold. Revenue per available room, a key Wall Street metric, dropped nearly 14% year over year. Average daily room rates, once a point of pride for premium properties, slipped 5.5% as hotels quietly rolled out midweek promotions to fill empty beds. The Strip's numbers painted a clear picture. The pivot to premium pricing had succeeded in raising the barrier to entry, but at a cost. The crowds that once powered Las Vegas's round-the-clock energy had thinned, and the city's famous sense of possibility was being measured, sometimes painfully, in every empty seat and silent slot. A bartender clocks out early on a Wednesday night, staring at a tip envelope that holds just $124. A year ago, that same shift brought in 3 times as much. The casino bar is quiet. The hum of the crowd replaced by the buzz of empty refrigerators and the scrape of chairs. It's not just slow, it's silent. Dealers, once able to pick up extra shifts on a whim, now watch the schedule shrink. A veteran pit boss at Caesars, with 15 years on the floor, used to work 5 nights a week. Now, he's lucky to get 2. His pay stub shows the difference in stark numbers. A paycheck cut almost in half since the spring. The pain isn't limited to the casino floor. Taxi drivers idle outside hotels, meters off, eyes scanning for fares that never come. Some wait 2 hours between passengers, burning gas and patience in the desert heat. The ripple spreads further, to the dealer schools, where enrollment has dropped to levels not seen since the pandemic. The classrooms that once buzzed with new recruits now echo with the voices of instructors wondering how many jobs will be left to fill. At home, the effects land hardest. A cocktail server who once relied on steady tips now checks her bank account before buying groceries. Her daughter's after-school program is suddenly a luxury. The promise of steady work, the reason so many moved to Las Vegas in the first place, feels fragile. For decades, the city's workers built their lives on the back of volume, the steady churn of visitors who filled rooms, crowded tables, and tipped for every drink and hand dealt. Now, with fewer guests and higher prices, the safety net has holes. Every empty seat on the casino floor means a little less in someone's pocket. The numbers that fill earnings calls and analyst reports translate in real time to smaller paychecks, fewer shifts, and harder choices for the people who keep the Strip running. The new Vegas math isn't just about corporate margins. It's about lives left dangling, waiting for the crowds that may never return. The Strip's transformation has not meant the end of gambling for everyone priced out. Instead, the action has shifted, sometimes just a few hours down the highway, sometimes to the other side of a screen. In Laughlin, gaming revenue climbed 17% in the first half of 2025. Mesquite posted a 10% gain. Both towns, long considered sleepy alternatives to the neon glare of Las Vegas, now see packed parking lots and crowded tables on weekdays. Their recipe is familiar: lower minimums, free parking, and comped drinks. For many former Strip regulars, these smaller markets offer the old Vegas experience at a fraction of the cost. Online gambling has also surged. In July 2025, U.S. online gaming revenue hit $1.78 billion, up more than 20% from the previous year. Nevada residents, once loyal to the physical casino floor, are registering for online accounts in record numbers. The convenience is obvious: no resort fees, no parking charges, and table minimums that start at $1. Major Strip operators have responded by investing in their own digital platforms, hoping to recapture lost revenue even as foot traffic dwindles. Beyond the migration to regional and digital options, pressure is mounting from another direction: tax policy. New federal rules capping gambling loss deductions have prompted some high rollers to look overseas, threatening to siphon off the very guests the Strip now courts most aggressively. Casino executives and industry lobbyists are pushing for changes, warning that without relief, Las Vegas risks losing its edge to offshore and crypto-friendly destinations. Not all experiments have failed. Resorts World, in a bold move, eliminated resort fees and restored free parking in June 2025. The property saw a noticeable bump in occupancy and a flood of positive comments online. Convention attendance citywide grew 10% in May, and major events at the Sphere helped fill rooms on weekends. Yet, even with these bright spots, the challenges remain. Weekday softness persists, and the question of how to balance exclusivity with accessibility hangs over every boardroom discussion. In 2025, Las Vegas Strip resort fees rose to an average of $55. Parking hit $25, and table minimums climbed to $25. Caesars CEO Tom Reeg openly stated the company was kicking out the lowest-end guests. Over the same period, Strip gaming revenue fell 3.9%, and weekday occupancy dropped to 81.9%, while bartender tips sank from $300 to $500 to barely $124 a night. Regional casinos in Laughlin reported a 17% gain, and online gaming reached $1.78 billion, showing where many former Strip visitors went. Yet, the full impact on local workers and long-term city revenue remains unclear, as some data is not publicly released. Experiments like Resorts World's fee rollback showed occupancy could rebound, but whether major operators will change course is still unknown. The evidence is clear. Las Vegas's shift to premium pricing has redrawn the city's map, and the question of who Vegas is for now sits at the heart of its future.